2, 3, 4.
Guten Tag and good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our fourth inaugural episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast, as we continue to discuss the game of life, amidst the other games we love, like sports and video games. I am one of your hosts, the only sucker to buy an Atari Jaguar, Lucas Ham. Also with me are the hater of all cute robots and cooking rats, Patrick Novosel.
What? Come on.
Tiger Woods' biggest fan on the 18th hole, Ronnie Johantis.
Hey.
And last but certainly not least, Channel F's only console fanboy, Marc Boucher.
Good morning, and happy New York Comic Con week, everyone.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Thanks for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, and thanks for listening. We are one of many conversational podcasts, but we are one of the few that have an undying love for Pixar and give the latest tips and tricks to fingernail clipping, while also seeking to inspire you and each other as we live, work, and play the game of life. Also, feel free to go back and listen to our earlier podcasts where we introduce ourselves, share why we started a podcast, talk about occupations, and our love for video games. So guys, as we've done every week, or at least for the past few, let's start out by gathering around the old water cooler and talking about what's new in the news, in our personal lives, entertainment, sports, video games, and the world. Discussing the highs, lows, and in-betweens of this past week. Who wants to lead the way?
I'll take it. I'll go first.
Marc Boucher,
All
stepping
right,
up to the
plate. Obviously I had my normal stuff that I do during the week. Right now we're sort of in the process of kind of redecorating our house to make it really more like a home, because a lot of the house just kind of felt boring to us and not really homey, I guess. Like, we don't have any curtains or anything up. It's just all like blinds that they had when we moved in and all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to decorate the house. We're trying to rearrange the spare room that we have upstairs and sort of reconfigure it into an office. That's where I normally record. That's where I am right now. So we're in the process of trying to move things around. We had like a futon in here that we got rid of because we don't really use it. So we're supposed to get a chair that is my wife's that is currently at my in-laws' house. We're going to go pick that up, as well as my sister-in-law actually made my wife a. Do you guys know what a Tardis is?
No,
Sounds
what's
like
that?
a
Negative.
ship, like a spaceship.
I believe it's an old wooden ship back in the Civil War era.
Yes.
You make me sad. You make me very, very sad.
Wait, no, is it a throne? That would be awesome if your office had a throne to sit at when you were doing work and podcasting.
Comes with a guy juggling and everything.
Yes.
To all my Doctor Who fans out there, I am so sorry.
Oh, it's a telephone pole. Can we, not telephone pole.
Telephone pole.
Can we edit out?
Yes, he goes traveling around in a telephone
Can
pole.
we edit out
Correct.
everything else and just go straight to me saying telephone booth or pole? That it doesn't matter either way. It's funny, but no. Okay, continue.
Okay, so the TARDIS is the ship that the main character from Doctor Who travels around in. It's
Who's the main
disguised
character?
as a 1950s. What's that?
Who's the main character?
The main character's name is the Doctor. He just goes by the Doctor. He has a real name, but it's never actually said. He
Wait,
just
his name's
goes
not
by
Doctor
a
Who?
name. No, it's not. It's not Doctor Who.
It's quite
You
obvious.
never went first.
It's quite obvious.
Can I continue now?
Sorry.
Everybody's all fired up.
I
You're just
apologize for
getting,
never
like,
watching the show. You brought up the Tartarus. Is that what it's called? Tartarus,
The
right?
Tartarus.
Yeah.
The Tartarus.
I'm
Yes,
sorry. I've
we
never
are
watched the
fighting
show.
Plaque.
I just want to understand.
It's okay. No.
I'll let you
the
talk.
name of
Sorry.
the ship is the name of the ship is the Tardis. It's an acronym. It stands for Time and Relative Dimensions in Space. But in any case, it's a time machine that the main character travels around in. It's disguised as an old 50s police telephone box. In any case, all that to say, my sister-in-law actually made my wife a bookshelf to look like the Tardis, and the doors open up to where you can put books on the bookshelf. So that is coming from my in-laws' house over here into the office upstairs, and we're just going to try to configure it into like an office slash library, and I'm going to have all things nerdy in here.
So
So
is that life
we're
size, or is that like a smaller version?
Please,
it's not life size, no.
please.
Oh,
I totally thought life size.
Not quite life size, but it's the size of like a, I don't know, just a standard half bookshelf.
gotcha.
Cool.
So, if that makes sense. But in any case, so we're gonna get that over here, and we're reconfiguring the office and all that. Friday night we had a game night. Had a bunch of friends over, and we played some more Exploding Kittens as well as some Jackbox games. I introduced some of the guys to Fibbage, which was
Yay,
awesome.
Fibbage.
They loved it.
Fun game.
That same day, actually, we were playing Drawful 2 with Ed Placencia and his No Work Friday stream, which was awesome. And so, we had our normal stuff, family dinner at La Carreta, the Mexican restaurant. And Sunday, my wife unfortunately had to work, so I had to do the whole church thing by myself. But when she went to work, I ended up picking up some Chipotle.
Hey, Mark.
And
Real
yeah.
quick. When you go to church, you're never alone.
Boom.
This is true. This is true. That's deep. That's deep stuff.
Just saying, man.
Well, I was wifeless
Fair enough.
for that Sunday. But in any case, so I brought her some Chipotle for dinner and sat and had dinner with her because she had to work a late shift. And then Monday at work was kind of crazy. It was a weird day because unfortunately 2 people got fired at work. So, which was kind of rough.
Yeah.
And it happened in a matter of minutes. There's just like 1 minute I was in the middle of doing something, and the next minute, oh hey, they don't work with the company anymore. It's like,
That stinks, man.
Wow.
yeah. But so I felt bad, but stuff like that happens. But that's pretty much my week at a glance. Looking at video game news real quick. Did you guys happen to see this leak that came out about this new Harry Potter RPG video game?
Yeah, I did see that. I'm not
Me
a big
too.
Harry Potter fan, but it seems like it's pretty exciting for those who are into Harry Potter.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen it, there was kind of some leaked footage online. Somebody posted it, I believe, on Reddit. It was pulled immediately by Warner Brothers. It was from a focus group that was conducted in the U.S. and it shows this like third-person open-world action RPG, kind of set in like 1800s Harry Potter universe, and so this kind of leaked on Reddit, and apparently this person who posted the video, he claimed that the footage shows what he was shown when approached in a shopping mall to watch the trailer and complete a short survey. And although cameras and phones were basically nixed, you weren't supposed to have them at all, he was able to sneak it by, and they neglected to see his phone, so he was able to snap this footage. And so this apparently is going to be made by a company called Avalanche Software, and it's basically this sort of open world RPG looking version of like Hogwarts and all sorts of stuff. It looks like you can choose as like 8 different wizard types and have control over the house that you're in, like, Slytherin, Gryffindor, all those.
Hufflepuff.
And you can choose which, Hufflepuff,
Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Woo! Gotta mention them all. We can't forget
so,
any. We can make up more if we want. Some people might not know anything about Harry Potter.
Floop-de-boop.
I don't think anyone would believe that, Mark. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Well, I saw the video earlier today or yesterday, and I thought two things. One, I thought that's a cool idea, and that would be a fun world to get lost in. But the second thing I thought is, isn't this like a few years late? Like, shouldn't this have been released when Harry Potter was a thing? Or is this a good timing?
I think Harry Potter is big no matter what day, what week, what year we're in, because there's Harry Potter fans all around the world, and I think there's people that are just starting to read these books.
Yeah.
The parents are handing them down and things like that. So I think yeah. I mean, they might have missed the mark. It might have been better if it was out, a few years ago when the movies were out. But I think it's getting people excited about Harry Potter. I mean, isn't there a Harry Potter series on right now out in the theaters?
There's a second movie coming where Johnny Depp is yet again a very weird villain, and they're doing like a prequel to Harry Potter, and so maybe they're gonna like work it in line with that, because like Mark said, it is set in the 1800s. Apparently, I didn't see that part. I just saw the videos of it, and it looked cool. But yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have the Fantastic Beasts movies. They've had the first one, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and then, like you mentioned, the second Fantastic Beasts movie, The Crimes of Grindelwald, will be coming out, I believe, towards the end of this year. And so, plus they've had Broadway plays and the transcripts of that. Like there's actually a Broadway play called, I believe it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Oh yeah,
which takes place after the events of Deathly Hallows, in that sort of future time.
I read the story.
Yeah, Potter.
I read the story on Wikipedia because I knew I was never going to see the play, and then I wasn't sure if it was ever going to become a movie. I will confess that I'm a very common user of Wikipedia when I'm not going to see a movie or watch something. I just go on Wikipedia and just read the whole story. It's really fun to do, and I did it with The Cursed Child. It's a pretty cool little play, but no spoilers here, so no worries if you want to read the play or go see it. It's recommended.
Yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But yeah, Pottermania is definitely not dead, and I think, with J.K. Rowling and her plans to just keep expanding this Fantastic Beasts universe, I don't think this is too out of, the sweet spot of having a game like this. Would it have been better if this came out during the mainline Harry Potter movies when they were in theaters? Yeah, probably. But I still think, the iron is hot.
Yeah,
So,
I just think now
I
it's going to have to be a really good game for people to buy into it. I think if it would have come out near the end or even within a year after the last movie came out, I think people would have just bought it. Bought it? Is that right? They would have bought it. They would have bought it without thinking.
Bought it, yeah.
Bought it, thank you. I just corrected myself. Nice. So, that's just my thoughts, though.
Good job. Yeah, absolutely. But that wraps things up with me. Patrick, what about you?
So,
How was your week?
Oh my gosh,
The old robot hater. The old.
Yeah. So I rewatched Wall-E and
Still hate it.
no. I wouldn't.
Hated it.
Totally different opinion.
Yeah.
No. So our bathroom, we had to redo our bathroom. So last week we were in our bathroom, stepped on one of our tiles, and water started coming up. So we had thought it was just from our kids playing in the bathtub, splashing water, and it kind of got through the cracks, whatever. So we kind of wanted to see how much water was under there, and the stick tile just came right up. There was no stickiness left to it, no glue left. and pull it up,
man.
and there's just standing water underneath that. So
Nasty.
we're like, oh my gosh, how far does this go? And we ripped up half of the tile, and there was just water everywhere. So we tried to air it out, and then we noticed that it wasn't going away. So we found out that there was a clean water pipe leak coming from our toilet that was just going underneath the tile. So we had to rip up all the tile. We had to rip out the toilets. We were thinking about getting a tool or like a new pipe for it just to stop the leaks, but the damage was already done. So we decided to pull out the toilet, and we pulled up all the tile, and underneath the tile is the wood, and the wood was just rotten. It had apparently been leaking for years, not just a few months or anything. It was years, because when we tore it up and we noticed the rotted wood, I mean, we put a pencil straight through this wood. So we were like, oh my gosh, we have to we have to take this wood out. We have to put new wood in. We have to put a new floor down. We have to take off the baseboards. It was an absolute mess. Luckily,
sounds like it.
Luckily my wife's brother has been out of work. He starts a new job I think next week, but he's been out of work, and he was able to come over while I was at work and my wife was home to take care of the bathroom and do all the stuff that was needed. So yeah, it was awful that we had that, but luckily, I wasn't sitting on the toilet and all of a sudden fall through.
Oh man,
I'm glad
Sitting on the toilet.
I'm glad that didn't happen, because that would have been worse. So all week we were updating the bathroom, putting new flooring down. We got a new toilet, new flooring, and put up the baseboards. And so the next thing I got to do is I got to recalk everything, and so it's all sealed. So yeah, it sucks, but our bathroom looks nice now that we fixed it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucks, but that's pretty much all that's been happening this past week, is just redoing our bathroom.
all right.
So how about you, Ronnie? What you got?
Well, you guys are never going to believe what I did. I really went outside my zone, and I cannot believe how on topic this podcast just went. This week, I went to Harry Potter trivia at a bar.
Oh, no way.
Hey,
With
there
a
you
huge group
go.
of people, like a bunch of my friends. They're all like diehard Harry Potter fans.
That is awesome.
I learned
I'm
there's
so
142
jealous.
staircases in Hogwarts. One of them actually knew that. 142 staircases.
What?
Wow.
And
How's that?
Hermione Granger's middle name is either Jean or June. I believe they would accept both because it's different in the book and the movie.
I think it's
neither of which
Jeween.
I've taken
Isn't
part
it
in.
Jeween? It's a mixture of the two.
Jeween.
Yeah,
Hermione Jeween
Hermione
Granger.
Jean with a J. Combine the two. That outside of my norm, that's pretty much the only thing I did differently this week. It was actually really fun. I mean, I think I've seen the first Harry Potter movie, and I haven't seen anything since. And it was just like when it first came out. So this is forever ago, and I haven't watched any of the other ones. So I was just there for the good time. They did get second place, but I was a little disappointed. Even though we were even trying to work the server a little bit. She was kind of feeding us some of the ones we didn't know.
Time for some new Harry Potter friends, I think, Ronnie.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even know I had any until this trivia thing came up. So, why would they talk to me about Harry Potter?
They should.
Other than that, that was the only thing that happened out of the ordinary for me this week. So I'll move right on to sports. First and foremost, Bengals with another win. They are 3-1. They beat Atlanta on the road. 13-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Green with 7 seconds left. It was intense. Patrick, what'd you think? It's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was back and forth. I mean, it was a high-flying kind of game. I mean, they were passing all around the field. It was pretty awesome. It was exciting. It wasn't a boring game where there was like 0-0. I mean, it was like 37-36 or something like that. So they were passing throughout the game. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a really fun one. I assume Mark, Lucas, you guys definitely did not watch it.
That is confirmed. I did not watch it.
I did not watch that game, but I did watch some of the Colts-Texan debacle. At least it was a
That
debacle.
was a shot in the dark because I thought you were in the...
No, but I was just saying that it was a debacle from my end because I was actually in Indiana on the day of the game, so I was surrounded by Colts
really?
fans, and they were both surprised and not surprised, being diehard Colt fans that have seen these kind of games in the past. So,
Yeah, that game probably won me a fantasy this week.
Did it?
Andrew Luck's
Nice.
Book Club now it's 2-2.
woohoo!
Go Andrew Luck's book club.
Yeah.
We're cheering
And,
for you, buddy.
So the Reds, our Bengals are doing great. Reds are done for the year. They finished at a very good 67-95 record.
Nice.
Ouch. That was
Yeah.
That's a rough one.
That is.
It sounds worse when I said it out loud. What didn't feel that bad writing it down. And then my big story that I thought was relevant from this week, and it's kind of been going on for the past few weeks, but there's kind of another wrinkle in the story, is in the NFL, the Steelers star running back LeVeon Bell has been sitting out this whole season for a new contract. The reason he's basically sitting out is in the NFL, it's a cap sport, so they can't get this gigantic amount of money that you would see maybe like a baseball player get. It's not a lot of guaranteed money, so for a guy like him who's pretty much the best in the league, I mean, he doesn't want to go out there and get injured and then not get paid next season. So it depends on how you're looking at it. The reason it's interesting is because Le'Veon Bell is probably the best running back in the NFL. I think there could be arguments, but he would be in every single one of them. He wants like $15 to $20 million per year, and
That's it?
He wants to be a Steeler, but I think they're talking about trading him, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, if he doesn't want that, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take $1 million less.
I'll take $20 on top of what I make right now.
I see your 20, and I'll take 19 to be the water boy.
We are going to be down to 1 penny.
$1.
So the Steelers, the interesting part about that is the Steelers are 1-2 and 1 because they tied the Browns, which is hilarious.
Yeah, they're tied with
so
the
they're going
Browns
bad.
overall, right? Are they tied with the Browns?
I believe they are.
Nice.
I believe they are, which is right in the cellar of the Bengals division, which is awesome. So the Steelers being 1-2, they're not playing very good football. Like, they seemingly need him, so this whole holdout thing is happening. And like I said, they're accepting a lot of trade offers. And the wrinkle in the story came this week or this past weekend. Earl Thomas, a safety for the Seahawks. He injured his leg, which looks like going to be a season ender. Well, he was actually holding out for a period of time as well, and he decided to come back. And he gets
man.
a really horrible leg injury. So as he's getting carted off the field, he gave the middle finger to his entire Seahawks sideline.
Oh, no.
Basically,
Wow.
That's not
gave
that's
the middle
no
finger to the
good.
whole organization on TV and everything.
Why did he do that to them? What did they do to him?
Did they break his
they
leg?
They refused the holdout, so he went back to play.
What
He kind of like
they refused to hold out? That
So he was holding out. They refused then to pay him. He ended up coming back, and then he got hurt.
oh.
So he's upset with the organization because he's been good for them for a really long time, and they wouldn't re-up his contract, and then he went out there and got hurt, which is a terrible thing. So Le'Veon Bell, who's still sitting out, commented and said that he was doing this for all of them, meaning like all of the NFL players he's holding out.
Right.
So, I mean, you could argue that he's just the best all-around player in the NFL. I think
Well, yeah, with that
he's
situation, his position's been strengthened. I mean, he's holding out to prevent what happened to that other guy. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are kind of funneling in behind, and I'm sure there will be a new agreement. But I don't know. A lot of people side with the team. A lot of people side with the players. I think obviously these guys make a ton of money, and probably the number one argument against it will be like, oh, they're getting paid millions of dollars to play football. That is true. The average football career is less than 5 years. So
yeah, depending on
they
your
have that amount
position,
of time to make their money.
Yeah, especially for running backs. I mean, wouldn't they have some kind of insurance? I don't know, that they could fall back on instead of demanding that they get paid something no matter what. I mean, to get paid something no matter what and then get something broken and you can't play and then they're still forking out money for you, that doesn't seem fair to on the other side. So there's got to be like some kind of
I think
insurance or, I don't know, something that could be a buffer between the two so that it would be fair for both sides.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think he was on Earl Thomas was on the last year of his contract. So the Seahawks did not they didn't give him a new contract. Then he went back and played and got hurt. So now it's looking like it probably lost him, millions of dollars.
Was this his first game back?
That I do not know.
Okay.
That I do not know if it was his first game back or not. But I always kind of tend to lean towards the players. I mean, I think a lot of these players, I guess relatively, it's not, it's not like he's making my salary or anything, but he does have a short amount of time to make his money, and I understand it from both perspectives, but kind of wanted to get your guys' take on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Lucas said regarding the insurance, if I were to, because right now I get a salary at my job, and if I were to get hurt, then I have to take some sort of maybe disability or workers' compensation or whatever kind of compensation that I'm going to get. It's not going to be my exact salary. It's going to be at a reduced rate. So I don't know if that's something that the NFL does when you do get hurt, or because you did say that none of that money was guaranteed. So when you get hurt, you lose all that money.
I think a lot of the money in the NFL is not guaranteed, but what I actually believe is if they get hurt during the season, they still get that season salary because they basically got hurt for the team. But where he lost a bunch of money was his contract doesn't go past this year. So his next contract, somebody signing a guy who just blew out his ACL or whatever leg injury he ended up having, they're not going to pay him even half of what he probably would have made.
How old is he?
So
is he
that was the frustration.
36, 38-year-old kind of guy where no one's going to want to sign him, or is he young?
I don't think he's that old, but I think he has been in the league for a long time. So I think he's definitely on the backside of his career. So I thought it was interesting, really from both sides. I mean, I kind of understand the players sitting out, for the guaranteed money, or I kind of understand the organization. Some of them don't want to, kind of handcuff their entire organization by paying one player so much money. It doesn't really make that much sense. But that is my sports, and I will hand it back off to Lucas.
Alrighty then. So before I share my personal news, because I have quite a bit of it, being that I am in the US of A. Woohoo!
Yeah!
I wanted to share that I read a news article the other day. I'm actually sharing a news article for once. It's very important to me as the self-proclaimed Pixar prophet. I read a news article that said that Tim Allen says Toy Story 4 is so emotional that he couldn't even get through the last scene of the movie. And the question I have then in reading this is, are you emotionally ready for Toy Story 4? Because I don't know if I am.
I thought you were just going to say, are you serious?
Yes, because Toy Story 3 was just not enough of a tearjerker towards the end.
Right? I mean, I watched Toy Story 3.
Up the ante.
And spoilers, when they're at the end holding their hands together and Kumbaya circle and they're going down to the flames, and it's like, oh my gosh, are they about to all burn up? One, how sadistic would that be? And two, it was going to be the end of an era, and I teared up when I watched that the first, second, third, fourth time. No more than that, just four times.
I mean, if you
well, I got to be honest.
If you think about it, go ahead.
I've never seen Toy Story 2 or 3.
I'm not surprised, Patrick Novosel.
I saw one
surprised
many times.
I won
the face palm that I'm giving you right now. I mean, obviously you can see it, but for people listening, the face palm is just deep.
Give your face a hard slap so that the mic can pick it up so everyone can see it with their ears. There you go. Oh, man.
I hope that picked it up nicely.
Yes, that was my only article. I just wanted to mention that kind of as a funny thing, but also as I don't know, I can't expect. I doubt. Ronnie, have you watched any of the Toy Stories?
I have seen the first one. Yes.
Fair enough. All right, Toy Story 1, good enough. Well, I'm not prepared to give an elevator pitch, but pretty much for the Toy Story films, it's pretty much your childhood should never die, because through it, you discover who you are and how everyone can pitch in and work together to do good for each other.
Yeah, Speaking
That's
of
Toy Story.
childhoods
Elevator
should never
pitch.
die. Did you hear about Toys R Us? So the Toys R Us, yeah,
Nice segue,
they
Pat.
right. So apparently, the controlling lenders of Toys R Us have pulled out of the bankruptcy proceedings. Apparently, they thought the intellectual property of the Toys R Us name was simply too valuable to give up. So instead of going through that bankruptcy, they pulled out, and now they are going to try to revitalize or reinvigorate or bring back Toys R Us. What that means, we don't know yet, but what they want to do is they want to get the Toys R Us name back out there, and their goal is to create new domestic retail operating businesses. Does that mean
Really?
there's going to be 50 new stores again, or are there going to be like pockets of stores around the U.S.? Don't really know, but
Like mom
Toys
and
R-
pop Toys R Us stores?
yeah, I don't know if they're going to like combine efforts with like an Amazon or something like that, where they have the Toys R Us name attached to a toy line, or if they are going to just be, by themselves, independent, away from any other businesses. I'm not sure, but one of the things that I read was because of Toys R Us going out of business, there weren't just the employees within Toys R Us, but there were employees with the toy companies, the toy manufacturers that were giving them the toys to sell, like Mattel. Mattel lost like over 2,000 employees because they were no longer selling their products in Toys R Us stores. So, yeah, I mean, Toys R Us. I mean, when I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do was go to Toys R Us.
No doubt.
I don't know, man. I don't know how. I mean, it's good. I'm glad that they're gonna try to save it. They're gonna try to rebuild, start from the ground up. I just get this feeling that it's just gonna be a shadow of what it was. And honestly, like, yeah, the only way I could see them starting over again is just going either just full online, or maybe like a small store, like in malls and stuff like that, kind of like KB Toys did at one point. Um, their main thrust should probably be online, whether that means going with Amazon or some other website like that. Just because there's such an iconic association with Toys R Us, these huge big box stores, that I just don't see them at this point in the 21st century, them getting back to what they were. They're going to have to deviate in some sort of way.
Yeah. Well, I'd agree with you, Mark. I think it sounds like that's what they're going to do, and you have to give them credit for their persistence and kind of taking a step back, and it looks like they're going to keep trying. So I give them credit for it. I mean, they already have the most awesome jingle ever. Am I right, Pat?
Yeah. What you want me to sing it?
I mean,
yeah, we want you to sing.
I think you want to. I could hear it in your voice earlier when you were talking about it.
No, I'm not going to sing it. Do you...
Baby.
Not gonna die.
No, I can sing it. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is.
Gee whiz!
I don't want to grow up. 'Cause maybe if I did, I wouldn't be a Toys R Us
Toys R Us kid. More games, more toys. Oh boy, I want to be a Toys R Us kid. Yeah.
I'm glad you finished that out. And that's probably going to sound completely off on the recording, and it's going to be hilarious.
I'm pretty sure the spirit of the giraffe was with us. I don't remember his name, or I would say his name, but Teddy the Toys R Us.
You talking about
giraffe.
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey, thank you. The spirit of Jeffrey is with us, and he will make it sound glorious and beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. It makes me sad. It makes me sad every time I drive by what was the Toys R Us here, because like they turn it in every year. They have like this this Halloween store that like they're only seasonal, so they just start up in like August, and they sell like Halloween costumes and decorations and all that kind of stuff. And they usually take over some sort of space that's typically not being used. And this year they took up the Toys R Us space, and so it's kind of sad to see like the outline of the Toys R Us logo, but then it has like Spirit Halloween all over it, and it's like, ugh.
Well,
But yes, I will always be a Toys R Us kid, no matter what.
well, you know what, Mark? I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I can't wait to drive by my empty and abandoned Toys R Us 30 minutes from my house.
Jeez.
Because that means I'm in West Virginia, baby, in the US of A. Am I right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is true.
I
Look
like
at
it.
that, look at that
it.
segue.
I like that segue.
Look at that segue.
Yeah. So, guys, as you know, I am in the promised land of 1,000 cereals, cheap electronics, and my friends and family in the United States of America. And I am so happy to be here.
1,000
So happy to be
cereals?
here.
Welcome back.
Dude, thousands of cereals. You don't understand. In Brazil, we have 4, maybe 5 cereal options. It's like a
what'd you
little
choose?
corner of
Fruity
the
Pebbles?
aisle. What do you mean? What did I choose? What didn't I choose is the question. I chose all of them. I've already eaten like 20 types of cereals. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
I
Lucas, what are
actually-
you going to do when you go to the United States? I'm going to get all the cereal.
All the cereal, billions of cereals. No, but I really want to kind of share a little step-by-step of my journey, if you guys don't mind, because each section of my journey has something that is worth noting, because this has been, it's been 6 days since I've been in the U.S., and it has been a wonderful and really exciting experience for multiple reasons. First of all, I flew for the first time on Air Canada. Have you guys flown on Air Canada before?
No, I have not.
No.
Anyone?
Negative Ghost Rider.
All right, well, let me tell you about Air Canada. I thought it was going to be the land of bottomless bottles of maple syrup. And every sentence, and that every sentence from the stewardesses would end with A. Like, can I get you a Coke, eh? You know, something like that. And that neither of those were true. I was a little disappointed. First of all, let me just share. I'm sorry to those, if anybody's listening and you work for Air Canada, my apologies. But I was not impressed. I will say it was the cheapest flight. Therefore, I would repeat the purchase. But I'm going to be a little more prepared because the seats, you press the button to lean back, and they literally went back like 3 inches. And so from there, you just kind of were like, well,
That's
3 inches better than no inches, so I'm just going to try to get some sleep. And then,
that's luxury class.
That was luxury, yeah, right. I'm a missionary. Let's remind everyone, missionary. When LeVeon Bell and all those guys sitting out are not making money, we have the same salary. So, yeah, we'll stop there. The other thing is that I got to sleep around midnight, and about 4 o'clock they turned on all the lights in the place because they wanted to prep us for breakfast. Breakfast was coming by. We were going to land at 5 o'clock, and so to wake us up and get us going for our breakfast at apparently 4:30, they decided to wake us up 30 minutes earlier, say nothing, and then say, hey, we're coming by with some pancakes and syrup. And I was like, Air Canada, here comes the maple syrup, right? And it was the saddest pancakes I've ever had in my life. And it was, I won't dwell on it because I don't like to dwell on the negative, but it just was so surprising. I just thought, it's Air Canada. What else would be like the best thing they could offer but maple syrup and pancakes? But anyways, so after I finally landed in Columbus, Ohio, I hit the ground running. And after some prep time with my family preparing for our Work and Witness conference, I went to a church in Gahanna, Ohio, shared about Brazil, connected with lots of different people from Africa, from Cuba, from around Ohio, Chicago, even some people from West Virginia, my brethren, and got a chance to raise awareness for missions around the world and in Brazil. And I even got to meet the founder of the Ministry of Work and Witness, which is the ministry that I coordinate, Paul
nice.
Gammertsfelder. It was really cool.
Excellent.
He started Work and Witness back in like 1973, and he was there And so I got my picture with him. I'll probably post it. I don't think I posted it yet on social media, but I'll definitely be posting it soon. Probably when I get back, because it has been super busy while I've been here. After the conference on Saturday, I, very casually left the conference. No, I didn't casually leave the conference. I sped away from the conference because I was about to meet some extended family at the 101 Beat House. Beat Kitchen, that's what it's called. Beat House. Oh, man.
I just can't believe that's a place.
No, it's not Beat. I'm a big ding-dong, and I called it that a couple times accidentally. It's actually 101 Beer Kitchen. But anyways, I met my extended family from the MTTG community in Columbus.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I met a man by the name of Matt, a.k.a. Arctic Warlock. I met Derek, a.k.a. Putty. Mike, a.k.a. Calmed Fury, all members of the Discord on the MTTG community. And I met our very own Nova Beyond, Patrick Novosel, in the flesh.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and it was such a glorious meeting. We hugged lots of times. And
his hair was just as tall as you thought it was.
His hair was majestic. It was really awesome to meet some guys face to face. I will say that I just kept wanting to call them by their handles. I kept forgetting their real names. So we're sitting around and talking. I think in total, how long were we there, Pat? We were there for 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
6 hours or so. Not counting the hugging. If you count the hugging, it was 6.5 hours. And we definitely took Chris McCracken's advice, and we looked at each other in the eyes a few times in between the hugs. It was glorious. For those that don't listen to Married to the Games podcast, you might be a little confused, but give it a listen. It's a good one. And it was cool. It was great just to talk to these guys about their lives and talk about video games and eat some good food, all that jazz. So did you have anything to share, Pat, about our time together?
Well, no, because I hadn't met any of the guys that had gone to the meetup. I mean, from Arctic and Calm Fury and Putty.
So they were all new for you too.
None of them had went to 300 back in June, so it was nice to finally meet everyone. I mean, I played online with Arctic for so many times this past year, from PUBG to Call of Duty to whatever games we were playing online. So it was finally cool to meet him. It was pretty cool. It was also it was nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's to say here about Lucas being a terrible hugger? What's
Whoa. What happens in 101 Beer Kitchen stays in 101 Beer Kitchen. We don't need to throw that out there. So, speaking of our little get together, we were sad that Marc and Ronnie weren't able to be with us. But Tim Paullin, one of our listeners, he wanted to know, so now that we have met, some of us have met, do we still like each other? Pat, you want to answer? You want me to go first?
Yeah, of course.
I will have
there
to
was
say
hesitation in that.
No, let's be honest, Pat. We don't like each other. We love each other.
Oh,
there it is.
Oh,
there it is.
Yeah, come on. The other question regarding our. Oh, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the other question regarding our get together and past get togethers came from Sheila Novosel, Mama Novosel. She asked how we have all met each other in the past, and if we had already said this in another episode, she's very sorry for bringing it up.
You should be. No, just kidding.
Well, I'm the only one that's met everyone here on the podcast.
That is correct. And I've only met Pat, which was this past weekend.
Patrick gets the platinum.
Oh, yes. Trophy earned.
He does. And then, Marc, you've only met Pat, as was said, and Ronnie, you've only met Pat, right?
That's true. Me and Marc met on PUBG, I believe, for the first time.
That doesn't count, but okay.
Yeah.
We died on the battlefield together.
Did you? Okay, that's true. You've never met.
Don't you tell me it doesn't count.
That's what you call brothers.
Man. Yeah, that's right. Band of brothers. Well, I hope we don't have any immediate plans to get together because I will be heading off to Brazil here in about 5 days or so. But I think I've penciled in to visit the U.S. again next July, and I'll be here for almost a whole month. So I think during that time we'll be able to plan a get-together. And
For
if
sure.
you guys can't figure out how
sure.
we can get together, I am going to question our friendship, just so you know. That's a warning. Okay.
So when you're
So-
going to be back in the U.S., are you going to be back in the Ohio area, or are you going to be staying in West Virginia, or are you going to be going all over the U.S.?
I'll be Indiana, West Virginia, and Ohio. So I'll be all around those 3 states.
Okay.
So there will be opportunities, and we'll figure it out.
Everyone, bank your PTO days.
Yep. Save them for July. So, speaking of Indiana, I did get to visit Indiana this past weekend. It was really cool because I went to a church in Lynn, Indiana, home to about 900 Americans. But also, this church was very international because they had Brazilians and Hispanics there as well. So, for being such a small town, it was cool to encounter a church with a good representation of Brazilians and Hispanics. They also had their morning church was for kind of like the regular church people, if you want to call them, people that are used to going to church all the time. And they also had a church service in the evening for those that aren't really comfortable in the church setting, but they were kind of comfortable to all get together in the evening. And I had the opportunity to share with all three groups and all 3 services during that time. Also during that weekend, I got to travel to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Got to share about Brazil and our mission there with some church leaders. And then yesterday and today, I got to drive to Perrysburg, Ohio to see some of my family on my mother's side, my uncle and my grandma. She is the unofficial mayor of Perrysburg, if you didn't know. And she is she's very well known because she taught 6th grade for about 30 years. So pretty much everyone there. I think she even got to grandchildren when it came to teaching some in 6th grade. So she has educated a lot of the city of Perrysburg. Now, while I was there, I do want to give a shout out to our MTTG brethren I think his name's Chad, at Chad Fackler 1. His name's Pumpkin Spiced Listener Chad. He had connected with me on Twitter. I know, isn't that a great name?
That's great.
That's a great fall name. He had connected with me, and we had tried to coordinate a get together, but my schedule kind of got squished from last minute things, and I just didn't have enough time to get with him. But we are going to try. He's going to be also put on the calendar for July, so I will also be trying to track him down in July of next year and getting to meet him. So I'm trying to be an ambassador while driving around the states of whatever those states are. Oh, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Speaking of
those states.
Yeah, all those great states. Speaking of driving around, I've been driving around in a Subaru Outback. This episode of Good Morning Guys is brought to you by Subaru. No, I'm just kidding. But guys, I have to say,
that'd be nice.
I wish.
I've not driven a newer vehicle in the U.S. My vehicle back in Brazil is a 2009 Chevy Prism, and it's a stick shift. It has the bare minimum. It doesn't even have power steering. So I'm not up to date on. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I have
Has it got
many
one of those like
experiences.
Has it got power windows, or you got one of those crank ones?
No, it actually does have power windows. It has AC, which is a must. But I've not driven a lot of up-to-date vehicles with lots of perks. And this Subaru Outback, I don't know what your guys' vehicles are, but I'm going to just really quickly explain the joys I found in the cruise control and the sensors and cameras it comes with. When you set the cruise control, it then goes into this like auto drive mode where it will stay in the lane by using cameras to keep track of the lines on both sides of your car. So if you veer to the left or right, it will automatically correct the wheel. I know this because I let go of the wheel just to test it. And
dangerous.
So it started to correct itself. Well, then it started to overcorrect itself, and it started blinking the message, "Please grab the wheel," over and over again.
You idiot. Please grab the wheel.
Yeah, it pretty much was like, "Stupid face, grab the wheel right now." It was really funny. But in that same time, I discovered that when cars were in front of me, it would like come up with an icon saying that it detected a car. And this is like up to 150 feet, like 100 feet in front of me, it would detect a car. and then it would adjust the speed depending on my distance to the car, and I could literally like stalk a car. Like it would get up to within a couple car lengths, and then it would go the exact same speed as that car. If it sped up, it would speed up. If it slowed down, it would slow down, and it would go all the way down to a stop without me touching anything. I don't know if you guys have had that, but I've never had that.
No.
And that was like crazy high tech. It blew my mind. So
You just let that happen?
yeah,
You weren't freaking out behind the wheel that it wasn't going to stop?
I totally committed. I just had faith, and it worked this time. No, Ronnie, I wasn't that sure at first, and so it was only like little by little I would let it do stuff to see if it would work. And I always had my hand close to the steering wheel. I always had my feet close to the brakes and stuff. It was crazy. So, other than that, little fun, my fun driving with the Subaru Outback. The last thing I want to mention is a little random, but it actually will connect us with our topic for the day. Going all the way back to last week when I flew on Air Canada, the one really great thing that came out of it was that I watched Ready Player One, and I loved it.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that movie. I need to buy that.
Yes.
The movie's so good.
I agree. I find that movie to be very ownable. That's a phrase that my wife and I say anytime we watch a movie. That's like, we gotta own it because it's really good. The shout outs to the 80s and 90s, the endless Easter eggs. If I am gonna say a few spoilers just because they were just so near and dear to my heart. So if you don't want to hear about the Easter eggs and you've never watched Ready Player One, maybe skip ahead like 30 seconds or so. But like, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
When they're referencing "Video Killed the Radio Star" by the Buggles, I was like, I had just listened to Marc talk about that song, and then they brought it up in the movie, and I was like, Marky Mark. I know that song. I was thinking of you, buddy. I know. I was thinking of you when they said it. And then the dry humor of High Rock, the skull chest bad guy. He was only animated. They never showed him in real life. He was so funny. Like when he was like randomly bringing up stuff like the Tootsie Roll Pop Owl, and he like talked about all how many licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I laughed so hard. And then when the alien chest burst out of Goro, when she was dressed up in that suit, when they used the Zemeckis Cube, aka the Rubik's Cube, to turn back time, and they used the Back to the Future jingle, I got goosebumps when it made that little jingle. When they went into the movie The Shining, that was crazy. And then the Iron freaking Giant. I mean, am I the only one that watched the Iron Giant? Did you guys watch that cartoon back in the day?
No.
Come on.
I have never actually seen that. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Is there a show or is it just a movie?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
You guys are killing me. Dude, the Iron Giant is amazing. You need to watch that movie. I'll give an elevator pitch for that one later. Yeah, you guys have some homework to do. And then, of course...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just love the fact that in the what is it called? The Oasis, that his like vehicle of choice.
Oh yeah.
Is the freaking DeLorean from Back to the Future.
It's the DeLorean, for sure. It's awesome. And dropping knowledge, I had no idea that an Atari 2600 game called Adventure had the first Easter egg in a video game. That was so cool to find out. It was just, the movie was an ode to my childhood, and now I want to read the book. And I thought it was really cool and kind of ironic that I was watching the movie, and then I was landing in Columbus, Ohio, which is the setting of the movie. Isn't that cool?
Right.
I mean, isn't that like, it's like the stars aligned for me to watch that movie that night. So anyways, in discussing some of this movie, I do want to move into our topic. Speaking of that, CJ Pennington asked, "What's the main topic?" Well, CJ, thanks for asking. I will tell you just that, eventually. So guys, hang with me. I'm going to have to lead you to the topic, because I can't just go out and blurt it. There needs to be some context. So, In the movie Ready Player One, beyond the comedy, the Easter eggs, nostalgia, there was one aspect of the movie that really impacted me. It was like the moral of the story. You know, by the end of the movie, as I was sitting there and watching, I reached like this level of zen or enlightenment. And I was actually, I'll be honest, as I've already you guys have maybe already gathered this, but movies sometimes move me, as it were, and I get a little emotional because I just make these connections with stories, not for the stories themselves, but I oftentimes like will watch a story and then I'll connect it to like the Bible or God or real life. And so I got a little emotional at the end of the movie, which kind of makes sense because before I watched the movie, I'd had a time of like prayer and Bible reading on the plane, and I was just kind of meditating on some things that I had been reading in the Bible. So one of the things that started to get my mind going when I was thinking about the movie, it all started when the main protagonist, he mentioned a line from the original Superman movie, you know, the one with Christopher Reeve. And the quote comes actually from the villain Lex Luthor, and he says, "Some people can read War and Peace and come away thinking it's a simple adventure story. Others can read the ingredients on a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe." And when I like stopped the movie when I heard him say that, and I totally forgot that. You guys have watched Superman, right?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yes.
Ronnie, have you watched Superman? Please tell me you've watched Superman.
Nope.
Oh, come
Wait,
on,
what?
man.
The original Superman with Christopher Reeve?
Christopher Reeve.
I didn't want to say anything because Patrick would have not have included me in the podcast if I said that up front.
Okay, so I'm going to watch Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and Iron Giant. All I need you to do is watch Superman. That's all I need you to do.
You got to watch Superman with Christopher Reeve, Ronnie. That is your homework. You got it?
I am batting 1,000 with not watching recommended movies so far, but I think I can.
You're killing me, Smalls. Killing me.
They write it down, or at least look like I'm writing it down in front of you guys.
Yes, that's great. Good job pretending. So I heard this quote, and I had totally forgotten that this movie, I didn't even remember Lex Luthor saying it, but the quote really hit me. And it got me to thinking not just how we can read a story or watch a movie and be inspired or impacted in real life, but how so many things in our life are connected, and how important it is for us for those real life connections that we have, and how we need to truly live a life with purpose and fulfillment. You know, last week we talked about video games. The week before we talked about occupations. And the week before that we talked about why we were even starting a podcast, which was to make connections. So if thinking of that, watching this movie, it just all seemed to come together in my head. And I was like, we need to discuss this. Because not only was I inspired through God in this movie, but I wanted us to kind of take some time to share a time, just to discuss it together. I wanted to share this inspiration with you. I wanted to share it with our listeners, and I wanted us to have a time to participate together, sharing about the connections that are so vital in our lives. So to get us started and kind of talking about it, I don't want to just leave it open to talk about the connections in your life, because that's really broad. But in the film, at one point, the main protagonist again says something that I think was very important. He said this, that connection comes down to finding a cause, friends, and love. And which really got me thinking, what are your causes or the purposes in your life? Who are the friends or even family that you have, that we have, that impact us? And who are our loves, or what are our loves in life? So I wanted to start with a cause, a purpose. Now, before we start talking about it, I just want to say an important quote that I think is really important to kind of get our juices flowing. There's a quote that says, "The two most important days in life are the day we're born and the day we find out why." So, we've all been born. But the question is, have you guys found out why? Have you guys found any causes in your life or purposes? And they can be related to job, they could be related to family, they can be related to friends, they can be related to, they don't have to be serious. I mean, they could be anything. So, let's hear them.
Well, I know for me, being a Christian, being a follower of Jesus Christ, we were born, but we were born with a purpose. And so for me, I'm going serious here. In my worldview, which is the biblical worldview, we are made to glorify God, and we are made to live this life in honor of Him, to walk with Him, And so ultimately that's my why for living. And, the Bible says that, whatever your hand finds to do, um, do it with all your might. And it also talks about doing it all for the glory of God. And so that happens to, manifest itself for me in terms of my music, why I like to play music, write music, and lead people in worship is ultimately I do that because it's something I'm passionate about. It's something I love doing, and overall, it's my way of being able to honor God and lead people in worship of Him. And so, that's ultimately my why, in my opinion. Now, obviously, that's not just limited to music. That's whatever um, aspects of my life are there. I try to seek to live in Christ's example and to just have that kind of servant's heart because, you know, Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And so if I'm to act in his example, I should be doing the same thing. Now, do I do it perfectly? Absolutely not. Um, I'm sure there are plenty of people who can tell you that, including myself. But that's my cause for why I do what I do, and of course, we're not supposed to do that alone. It's important for us to do that with other people to glorify God together. Um, and whether that being, family, friends, uh, church family, you've heard the cliche phrase doing life together. Um, well, I mean, that has a major ounce of truth in it, in the fact that, we're not supposed to do everything alone. And so I think it's important in order to live this life and to live it truly as God intended. We're not supposed to be an island. We're supposed to carry one another's burdens and do it together. So, Patrick, what about you?
That's awesome, Mark. I like that. For me, right now, I like to look at it as the cause for me is my family right now. I work to provide for my family, and I am the quote unquote breadwinner for the family. My wife doesn't work. My wife stays home. She is able to stay home because I am able to make enough money to where we can pay our bills, we can have a roof over our heads, we can have food on the table. But one of the biggest reasons why my wife stays home is we wanted to be there for our kids as they grow up. We didn't want them to grow up with a babysitter, non-family member, daycare, whatever you want to call it. We wanted to see our kids grow up. We wanted to be able to foster that parent-child connection, if you will, with our kids, so that we could become a closer family. You don't know how good it makes me feel when my wife texts me with pictures of the kids, what they're doing, the fun they're having while I'm at work. Yes, I'm at work, but my wife is able to have that family time to be with the kids. I wouldn't have that if my wife worked as well. She stays at home, and the funds are tight sometimes, but that's okay. It's our choice. We could have more money, we could have a bigger house, nicer cars, nicer toys, but that's, to us, is not important. To us, that we want to be there for our children. We want to be able to volunteer at their schools. Watching them grow up is way more important than any money that is in our bank account. You don't get those years back. The years where your kids want to be with you, they want to talk to you, they want to hug you, they want to snuggle you. You don't get those years back. There's going to come a time when the kids don't want to be around us. They're going to want to be with their friends. So we're trying to cherish every moment with them as much as we can. So for me, my cause is my family.
Awesome.
Nice.
What about you, Ronnie?
Yeah, that was a really good one, by the way. I think mine is going to be kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum. So when you talk about a cause in life, so sometimes in life your cause can change. For example, myself, I was married for 5 years. I'm no longer married, but I was with her for 13. So from 17 to age 30, we were together, and now we're not any longer.
Wow.
So your cause really changes. When I was married, kids, family, all of that same thing, and we obviously split up. So one of the things when I split up with my wife, we said, I kind of said, all right, what do I want to do now? It's a bizarre feeling to think about. All of a sudden, okay, I'm making all my decisions now. So what do I want to do? Hence the playing in a ton of volleyball leagues and working out a lot. But it's also it's kind of giving me a different outlook. What I want, what's my cause. I don't quite know yet. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that haven't necessarily found their cause. Some people find it early, some people find it late. So I don't know a specific cause. What I try and do is I try and do the things that I love to do. And I try to do as much of those as possible. I mean, with the sand volleyball, I'm 30 years old, so I do not heal like I did when I was 18 after playing a lot. So it's reasonable to believe that I won't be able to do that for a very long time, play that much. But I've also been able to go out and meet a lot of different people that I probably would have never met, had I still been married and still in that same life. So I think I would be on the opposite end. I haven't found my cause yet, but I think there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't found theirs yet also.
Well, I
I'll
think
segue that right into you, Lucas.
Thanks, man. I was gonna take it like we're playing a game of volleyball. You set that ball right up just for a perfect moment, because I think I don't think when I was asking, like when I kind of thought about this, my hope was that we wouldn't all have it together, because if we all just went straight across to each other and just said, yeah, my cause is this, yeah, my cause is that, yeah, my cause is this, I don't think that's the point. The point is for us to talk about it honestly, and to sometimes we don't know what our causes are, we don't know what our purposes are, and I think some of the people listening we can say that we've all had points in our lives where we didn't know what our cause was. And I want to encourage you to do kind of a mental thought, I forget what they're called, like a mental exercise, something that helped me really understand my purpose in life. I was having a Bible study with some of the guys that I meet with in Brazil to just pray and read the Bible together. And one of the guys talked about something that I found really powerful in helping me to really understand my purpose. And he said, you need to think of two things. First, you need to think of one thing that you're passionate about, like something that you love doing no matter what. It could be superficial, it could be deep, it could be meaningful. The only thing that it has to be is something you love. And it's interesting that that's what you brought up, that your purpose in life is to do, the things that you love. And so, when this guy was talking, he was like, you need to pick something that you love. So everybody pick something. And then he said, on the other hand, you need to think about one need that you observe in the world, like something in the world, a situation that people are in, a difficulty, a challenge that the world or individuals are facing that you observe and you think is maybe the greatest need in the world. And then he said, take those two things, combine them together, and you have your purpose in life, or you have a possible purpose in life. And when he was talking about that, in one hand, I thought about how I love stories, like how I love video games, books, movies. I like all those things, but what's in common with those is stories. And what I thought the greatest need was, that I observed, was loneliness, was people feeling like they're alone, like there's no one that has their back. And when I combined those, I started to understand my purpose, and it actually led me into my purpose, which is actually just making connections with people, whether it's helping other people connect with God, helping people connect with their purpose. I kind of mentioned in one of our episodes, I think it was the occupation one, that I used to feel like I had a calling to be a doctor of the body, and then I realized I want to be a doctor of the soul. I want to help people in their path to spiritual, mental, emotional health and connection. And what's cool is, for me, last year I took the Clifton Strength Finder. I don't know if you guys have ever taken personality tests or strength tests, but our work required us to take this Clifton Strength Finder test, and one of my strengths, top 5 strengths, was connection, was the ability that I have to just connect things and make things connect. And so for me, that's my purpose. And whether that applies to my job as worker witness coordinator, whether that applies to me as a friend, whether that applies to me as a dad, helping my kids connect with me or helping them connect with God, that's my purpose. And so I hope that like mental practice of connecting things, thinking of your passion and the greatest need you observe, maybe it'll help you, Ronnie, maybe it'll help somebody else listening to find their purpose in life. The other purpose in life.
Really cool thought.
Yeah. So, try that out. And if something comes from it, maybe share it with us sometime. It will be cool to hear. And if anybody else, in thinking of that, share with us about it. The other purpose I want to share, the other cause that I have, actually is only developed in the past few years while being in Brazil. It's actually letting the whole world know that the greatest ice cream in the world is actually in Brazil at a ice cream place called Sergel. So that one's a little harder to sell, and it's a much more difficult cause, but it's a real cause I have. Seriously, every time I have a mission group come down, I say, we're going to the city, and we're going to meet people, we're going to talk with people, we're going to share Jesus with people, but really I'm bringing you to the city to try the ice cream because it's amazing. Speaking of ice cream, Rachel Thacker wanted to know, how do you guys like your ice cream?
Great question.
Like what flavor or toppings?
I won't presume to say what
Yes.
Aaron was meaning in that question. He just wanted to know how we like our ice cream. Do you like it cold? Do you like it hot? I don't know.
The old hot ice cream, yes.
Hot ice cream.
No, my go-to is frozen yogurt with rainbow sprinkles, the soft serve kind.
Nice.
Boom.
My go-to is the just like the soft serve chocolate vanilla mix, like the classic, and I think that's just still the best ice cream.
Yeah, for me, usually I'd go with some sort of a cookie dough ice cream. A lot of times we have a lot of frozen yogurt places in our area, so yeah, we go to the Froyo spot here and get. They have like the multiple types of flavors, and I'll usually get like. I think it's like cake batter and peanut butter flavored with like Reese's peanut butter cups and cookie dough. And now I want to go get some frozen yogurt.
Oh
so
my
thank you
gosh.
so much.
That sounds rich.
Yeah, it does. That sounds like a meal.
And
Like,
awesome.
Forget
Two
dessert.
spoonfuls and you're
I'm
dead.
just. What are you having for dinner? I'm having what Marc's having. Thank you. Because of Sergel, and I can't explain Sergel in a way that you guys are going to be like, wow, that is the best ice cream in the world. You guys are just going to have to come to Brazil to visit, and you're going to have to try it. But one thing that Sergel does is they let you do multiple scoops of multiple flavors on a big old waffle cone. And as long as I have a waffle cone, I kind of feel like most ice cream is good. You just eat it up, and you got that waffle cone at the end to kind of give you that crunch. And that's mine. That's my preferred ice cream format. So, moving on to the second way we connect with people, friends and family. So, CJ Pennington, one of our listeners who asked about our topic, also asked, who is your biggest inspiration? Who do you admire? Who is the one connection in your life that you enjoy most, both professionally and socially? So I feel like those questions that he asked all revolve around friendship, all revolve around family. And also, as an additional side note, I think we should start with Patrick because his mom wanted to make sure that he told everyone what she had said regarding friends and also how they feel about family pride.
So yeah, what she was talking about, we were texting back and forth this past week, and she was asking about the podcast and if anyone who all knew about it, and I told her that my brother, had put together the music for the podcast, and he did it. I just asked him. He said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And a few days later, he puts it together. So him putting that music together, with no questions asked kind of thing. He just said he was going to do it. I had a lot of family pride with that. It's just like when your brothers, when your sisters, when your family members just by the drop of a hat do something for you with no questions asked, no strings attached kind of thing. That's what I was talking about with the family pride. But on the other part regarding his question regarding who inspires you, regarding both socially and professionally, the one that inspires me the most is my dad. And I've talked about my dad in the podcast previously, because I enjoy Sundays when we hang out, we watch the Bengals and chat. But my dad inspires me the most because he is got to be the nicest person that I've ever met. He will, at the drop of a hat, just help someone out every single day, every single hour. If someone needs their grass cut, he'll come over and cut your grass. If you need help with a house project, he's gonna be there. If he just wants to see you, he'll come and see you. With that, I want to be more like my dad. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to just help someone out, and with no strings attached, just help someone out, just to be nice, just to be kind, because that's what he does. And like a lot of us, we want to be like our parents. We want to be like our dad. We want to be like our mom. Not everyone has that. But me, I am blessed that I do have both of my parents. They're still living and they're still married. They're still 1 mile down the street. So having that that kind of connection, that kind of relationship with my dad, I want to be more like him, and he does inspire me the most.
Very nice, awesome.
What about you, Mark?
I guess the one person that I guess would inspire me and sort of challenge me on many occasions would be my dad and my stepmom. They love me and care for me and want the best for me, and sometimes that kind of rubs up against what I want to do in my own stubbornness and in my own, I guess, lack of experience and knowledge. And so a lot of times they're like, well, you might not want to do that. That's probably not a good idea because da-da-da-da-da. And so that might rub against what I want to do, but ultimately, they have more experience. And so ultimately I know they love for me, and they have, my best interests in mind, and they just don't want me to make the same mistakes that they did. And so, I kind of have to step back from myself and realize that, they really challenge me to just to be wise and to basically just think for the most part. And so I love them and appreciate them. Even though we may, butt heads on things, and I'm sure my parents shake their head at me, and have probably hurt their neck from all the times they've shaken their head at me from things I've done. But they still love and support me. And then of course my wife inspires me and makes me better, because she is so compassionate and so full of just grace. Especially towards me. There are so many times where she could have been mad, but she wasn't, and she was always encouraging me, even in, real low points in my life. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for her being in my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome to have. I do want to bring it back. What you were talking about, challenging. People who challenge you and people who make you think. I do want to give a shout out to Lucas because you definitely challenge me with these topics every week and making me think about not just at the surface level, but deep thinking. So, yeah, shout out to you.
Thanks, buddy.
Shout outs to Lucas.
Definitely agree. I would say the biggest connection that I have in life, kind of to follow Patrick and Mark, is my mother. Like, I am closer to my mother than anybody on this entire planet. We're really open and honest with each other. And I think just growing up, seeing how hard she worked, we were with my mom for the majority of the time, kind of growing up, and she just worked her butt off, to the position she was in. She's in today, which is it's very good. I was able to have pretty much every opportunity growing up because of her working so hard. Kind of a single mother, really just busting her butt, and I think I try to model myself after that. I don't think I can quite work as hard as she did. But I really appreciate and respect that. And she's the best for sure.
Ronnie, I'm with you, brother. Mama's boys for life. Power to the mama's boys. I shout out to
Should get a tattoo of that.
Yeah. Shout out to both my moms because you bringing it up, Ronnie, made me think not only of my stepmom, with whom I'm very close. We never had any issues when she entered my life. When she married my dad, I never had any issues with rebellion with her. She just kind of, she didn't replace my mom, but she just went right in there, and she helped take me to another level in maturity. To my dad taught me how to be a man, but my mom also taught me how to be a man as well, and like how to relate and how to relate to others, and that kind of stuff. So I shout out to my stepmom Wilda, and shout out to my mom. She was the first person that really accepted me for who I was, and her memory in her life definitely inspires me. And I mean, I might as well keep consistent with the important ladies in my life. My wife as well, Mindy. She inspires me. She challenges me. She does not let me settle for just, doing just good enough. She challenges me to be better, and she helps me to be better. She's too good to me sometimes, and I love her for it, and she definitely inspires me. And then my best friend Tom, back in West Virginia, we keep in contact, talking to each other on the phone and stuff, and I'm going to get to see him this weekend, and he's definitely a guy that always challenges me and inspires me as well. He's been my buddy since high school. When I was really thinking about this topic and thinking about friends, I actually connected it to, no big surprise, an animated movie, a kids movie. So, and it's also connected to our last week's topic. I wanted to share about the best video game movie of all time, Wreck-It Ralph.
Nice.
Anyone?
No,
Yes.
I have seen that one.
You have seen that. Ronnie, have you seen that?
I've seen that one multiple times.
Nope.
Ronnie. Come on, Ronnie. Man, you are batting 1,000. So,
Right,
anyways,
No.
yeah,
Call off next week of work.
get your pen out. I didn't warn Mark, but
He's
Mark...
gonna have like that.
No,
Okay.
Wreck-It
I was
Ralph.
gonna say-
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Mark, did you have I didn't warn you about this, so did you have a funny elevator pitch to give? I have a serious one to kind of, bring it into perspective. But if you or Pat want to give a good elevator pitch for Ronnie, go ahead.
No, Mark, you go. You're good at this.
Oh no, because I've only ever seen Wreck-It Ralph once. I guess even if you're a video game character, don't let jealousy get the best of you, because bad things can happen, and that's probably a really weak elevator pitch. But I don't.
It's not bad, but yeah.
All right.
I don't remember.
It's all right.
I don't remember the whole plot of that movie. I've seen it. I don't remember the whole plot of it.
It's a good effort, buddy. I've seen it more than once, so let me go ahead and give my elevator pitch. Ronnie, this is the essence of Wreck-It Ralph, and I think you're really going to like it if you give it a chance, okay? So,
I'm ready.
Wreck-It Ralph, he's a bad guy who wants to be a good guy. So he goes on a journey to make it happen, and along the way finds friendship, peril, and adventure, discovering that while he might not be able to change his identity, others might be able to help him be who he wants to be. Huh?
That's nice. That should be on the back of the DVD.
That's pretty solid. So he's in the video game meeting these people?
That's right.
He is a video game character.
Spoilers, he is a video game character. So the reason I brought this up was not for an elevator pitch, and it was not to expose Ronnie's inexperience with all animated movies. It was actually
Movies, honestly.
It was actually there's one of my favorite lines comes at the end, and it's from Ralph himself. Now these are minor spoilers, so Ronnie, I don't think this is going to ruin the experience, but I'm just going to kind of just share. He's gotten to the end of the movie, and he's kind of reflecting on his adventure, and he's about to be thrown off a building. Now that sounds really bad when I say it out loud, but it's a part of the video game, so he's kind of consigned to the fact that he's always going to be a bad guy. So while he's about to be thrown off, he's looking out over at another video game where there's a character that has become his friend during the movie. And he says, when he's about to be thrown out, he says, "It turns out I don't need a medal to tell me I'm a good guy, because if that little kid likes me, how bad can I really be?" And so every time I hear this quote, I get a little, my eyes start to leak, whatever. I'm a man, men don't cry. But I think about, when Ralph is saying that, I don't get emotional because I'm like, oh, that little video game character likes that other video game character. No, I think about my own life and how many times in my life I'm like Wreck-It Ralph, and how I have all these good intentions. I try to make an effort to be a good, positive person, to love my family and friends, and sometimes I fail miserably. And when I get negative and I want to get up, I remember the most important person in my life, Jesus Christ. And I remember not just what he did for me on the cross and through his resurrection and grace, but I remember that he believes in me, and that he's given me a great purpose. Not rules to follow, not unrealistic expectations to struggle with. He's given me goals and dreams and a plan to reach to my full potential through his power. And the only reason it's hard sometimes is because I'm trying to do it alone. And since we've talked about before, we're not meant to do this alone. I think it's very fitting to talk about God, because he believes in us. He wants to give us strength through his grace, through relationship with him, and he simply just asked for us to believe in him back. He believes in us. We just need to believe in him back. And so I really want to encourage you guys, to not only watch the movie Wreck-It Ralph, but think about your own relationship with God, understanding that in what he did, he believed in us first, and he's just asking us to believe in him. So that's what I wanted to share with Wreck-It Ralph and my best buddy Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Not the same kind of movie, but I just watched this new series on Netflix. It's called MANIAC.
I've heard of that.
It's about two individuals, and they got some inner demons that they got to work out, and they're trying to do it alone. And I was watching this series, and I didn't look at it as another one of those shows that's, I don't know what's going on, this is ridiculous. I kind of tried to look at it like in your eyes, Lucas, as there's got to be a story in here. What's the story that they're trying to tell? And there's pretty good spoilers right here. So if you're gonna watch MANIAC, just fast forward here about 20 seconds. But these two individuals, Jonah Hill and Emma Stone's characters, they're trying to face their inner demons alone. And throughout the series, they're getting closer together. Their relationship is fostering, and by the end of the show, all they needed was just a friend to help them get them through that, to face their demons, and just so they didn't have to go it alone. That's all they needed, and that's what I got out of that one. It's not the same as Wreck-It Ralph, but a little bit more serious, but it's pretty much the same kind of story.
That's cool. Nice. I think the third way that we connect is kind of related to friends and family, but it's a love, and it's someone. Sometimes it's something to love, but I was thinking about us talking about who do we love, what do we love, and why. I don't know if you guys did everybody see The Last Jedi? We keep bringing up movies, and I hope maybe all of us saw this one. Yes. So all of us have seen The Last Jedi. So there's a part at the towards the end of the movie when the Rose, I think, one of the most hated. I think besides Jar Jar Binks, she's one of the more recent hated characters in the Star Wars universe for some reason.
Which I don't understand.
No, I don't either. But anyways, she saves Flynn's life, and he's like, "Why did you do it?" And she said, "Wars aren't won by killing what you hate, but saving those you love." And that quote really hit me, and I think it's really important to think about. It's a little different than the friend question, because with the friends and family, it's how they inspire us, how they affect us, how they have an impact on us. But we also have to give love, like we also have to impact others. And so, who do you guys love, and why?
For me, love. I love everyone. Now that doesn't mean I like everyone, because sometimes that can be tough. Based on what people do, their deeds, their words, their actions. It could make you not like someone, but that shouldn't diminish the love because of that. Because I think Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. So that I kind of live by, because yes, I may not like this person, but that doesn't mean that I can't love them or pray for them, or hopefully that they turn their life around or whatever. It's not. I'm not the judge. He's the judge.
Boom. Absolutely. First and foremost, I love God. I love everything about him and all that he's done for me. The fact that he took someone like me, who on many occasions has come so close to destroying his life, and can just turn my life around, and most of all what he did for me through his son on the cross. That's the biggest thing for me, and it basically is the foundation of everything that I do, the response to what he has done and is doing for me. Everything I do in my life is a response to that, and so that's why I definitely my love for God is first and foremost, and then everything else after that. Of course, I love and serve my wife. Kristen has been such a blessing in my life beyond measure. She continues to be so, and she laughs at all my awful dad jokes, even when they're not good. She's a total
God
nerd
bless
like
her.
I am, and she just gets me, and so she makes it so easy to love her. And now I'm leaking. But yeah, I definitely I love my wife.
Don't ruin the moment by saying that. Just go with it, man.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to diffuse the moment. But yeah, so I definitely I love my wife, and then my family, my friends, my church family, who have poured into me, and who like Patrick said, Jesus calls us to love no matter what. And so that's what I seek to do. Even if someone doesn't love me back, we still are called to love. And so, but I'm definitely thankful for the people who have poured themselves into me, family, friends, church family, in some pretty rough times in my life. They've been a rock for me. So yeah, that pretty much sums up who I give my love to.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So with the change in the last year of my life, I have had the opportunity to go out and do, a lot of different things that I probably wouldn't have otherwise done. And I have met, just a ton of people that I consider, pretty close friends within this last year. I've met a lot of people that I play volleyball with. I've met different people at work, with some of the changes that have gone on. And, I think it obviously I love my mother. but I've grown to love all of these people. Going and doing stupid stuff with them that I wouldn't normally do. Harry Potter trivia, like I was just there to laugh. It's just given me a lot of opportunity to go out and just meet, a lot of new people, make a lot of great connections in my life. And, the friends that I've had my whole life, it's really given me a chance to meet or to get to know them better. I've been able to spend more time with most of them, and just a completely different thing. These are people that I love, and I love spending time with them, and that's what I've been able to spend more time with them. So it's been really great, really great.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you in that. I really love just connecting with a variety of different people. I really the fact that I get to connect with Americans and Brazilians, I just love different cultures, and I've really grown to love different perspectives. I always get just really energized by meeting somebody new, and I can tell that this past week, with each different day, meeting somebody new, encountering new perspectives, sharing about, I love sharing about the things that God puts on my heart, and the things that I'm inspired by, and to share it, to not just be inspired and be like, wow, that's cool, but to share it with somebody else and maybe help them make a connection and hopefully impact them. I love doing that. And of course, as you guys mentioned, I think we all love our friends, our family. I love my wife also, of course. I love my mother, just like you, Ronnie, Mama Boys for life. And I love God. And I think the idea of loving God is something that oftentimes can be seen as like the Sunday school answer. Like for those that have gone to church, when you don't know what to say, you just raise your hand and say Jesus or God. I love God. And that's like the Sunday school answer. But I had a college professor in one of my classes, and he gave us this challenge. He said, when it comes down to it, if I love God above everybody else or everything else, I will end up loving them more than if I loved them more than God. Pretty much meaning that when I love God first, He enables me to love everybody else so much more. And it's through His strength and power that I can truly love people, like unconditionally. Because love doesn't really show its true nature until we hit difficulty, until we hit trials, and until we're tempted to give up. That's when love truly shines. And I think that's important to remember, because sometimes the world wants to say that, love is just a choice or love is just an emotion. It's a little bit of everything, but in the end, we decide who we're going to love and how much we're going to love them. And so, with talking about these three different things, our purposes, our friends and family, our loves, it all comes down to the connections we have. When people are taking their last breaths, when people are on their deathbeds, they don't think about the money they have or don't have. They don't think about their possessions. They think about the connections they have. They think about God. They think about people. And so I want to encourage all of us to just keep thinking about our connections and really cherishing them. Some of the people we talked about tonight, I think it would be appropriate tomorrow, maybe not tonight because it's kind of late, but tomorrow, if we see them in person, give them a hug. If we're not going to see them in person, send them a message, telling them thank you, and really expressing, the connections we have and really being thankful for those things. So with that being said, I want to open up the floor for our final thoughts, final musical suggestions. Marc, I know every time you bless us with some great songs and suggestions. I wanted to let you know that one of our newer listeners, Aaron Thacker, he wanted to know, why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? I should have practiced that one a little more, I think.
My mother-in-law would be very happy with you right now, because that's a Carpenters tune.
Yeah,
and
she's a Carpenter fan.
She absolutely loves the Carpenters. But yes,
me too.
Yes, especially all their Christmas stuff, so good. But Yeah, I do have some songs prepared, and just to remind everybody that we do have a Spotify playlist. We're,
Yeah, we do, and we have a podcast on
this is
Spotify.
true. We are
Yeah.
officially on Spotify. So you can search for the podcast, and you can also search for the Good Morning Guys morning playlist. And I'll be adding to that weekly as I introduce new songs on the podcast. I'll add them to the playlist, and y'all can check it out. So this week,
Can you add the Carpenters, by the way?
I guess I can. I guess that's a good morning song. Why not?
I think it's very appropriate. Thank you, Aaron Thacker, for bringing that song to our attention.
Yes, absolutely.
And to answer your question, I really don't know why birds suddenly appear every time you're near, so I have no answer
If
to
you
that
find
question.
out, let us know.
He's got bird seed in his pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got 3 songs that I'm going to add to the list that you can check out. The first song is actually incorporated with our topic this week. When we started talking about the idea of doing a topic of connections, it immediately made me think of this song. It's a song a few years ago that came out by a band called Sanctus Real, and it's a song called "We Need Each Other," and it's a great song, and the lyrics behind it are awesome, and it's basically talking about the fact that we need each other in this life, and so there's no point in any division, and just fighting and all that kind of stuff, because we just need to come alongside each other. It talks about taking the good with the bad and the ugly, and just learning to love each other because we need each other. So I would very much encourage you to listen to that song, and it's just beautifully written. And so in the complete opposite direction, I've been really enjoying, I told you I'm a big 80s music fan, and if you're familiar with the band Weezer, they actually just recorded their own cover of Toto's Africa, which is awesome. And
Yeah, it is.
and so I'm going to add that to the list. So definitely check that out. I'd also check out the music video for that, because Weird Al is actually in the video.
No way.
Yeah, he's actually.
We got to make sure to tell Ed Placencia about
Oh,
that.
I'm sure Ed's probably watched it by now. He's probably watched it a few times. But
Probably.
yeah, he's kind of dressed up as Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer. If you've ever seen what Rivers Cuomo looks like, he's pretty much this. He's dressed up as like the spitting image of Rivers Cuomo in the video. So it's hilarious. But they did a very good job with the cover of the song, and I just enjoy Africa anyway because it's just so 80s. It's not even funny. But and the third,
I think that's the point. It actually is funny. It's so 80s.
yes.
Just saying.
But yeah, and the third song that I encourage you guys to check out is a newer artist. His name is George Ezra. He put a song out not too long ago. It's a song called Budapest, and it's basically a song about I would give up everything that I ever get in this world, any possessions I may have, just to be with you, to be with whoever that may be. And so he's listing off all these things that he would give up, all for this one person. And it's just this fun little song about that. So very much encourage you to check it out. It's fun. It's a nice, good way to start your morning. And yeah, definitely check out the playlist. Anybody else have some closing thoughts?
Yeah, I have. I just have one, I guess, kind of question that I want to ask you guys. So this scenario happened to me this week. So we're all 4 males, so we are all visiting the urinals in the bathroom, and the way the urinal's set up at my work is you have the short urinal on the left, and then the 2 regular size urinals on the right. So I'm following this gentleman into the bathroom. We're both going to use a urinal.
Stalker.
I already don't like where
Who's
this
a
is going.
creeper now?
Right through this.
Can't do that
Now we're hung
now.
up. So anyways,
Keep going.
There's 3 urinals. This guy goes in, nobody else in the bathroom, and he chooses the middle urinal.
He goes,
Oh, that's
So
oh
I'm directly
no.
coming in behind him, and now I
No.
basically only get to choose which side of him
Oh,
I want to stand on.
that's
And this happened.
You should have
I wanted
stood
to be
right behind him,
Kinda, I mean, the
directly
guy, like,
behind
held
him.
the door for me, kind of like on
Stand
the
directly
ramp.
behind him and wait.
I mean, it was one of those times where I'm like,
gosh.
should I be like, oh, come on, man, are you serious? Like, I guess I'll just use one of these stalls or something. This is awkward. Is that a thing? Do people just do
See-
that? I mean, I feel like you take one end or the other.
this is when you still love them, but you don't like them at this point.
Truth be told, not that y'all need to know this at all, but I don't use urinals. Not a fan. Just not a big fan. So I won't even run into that problem.
Fair enough. Maybe I need to switch.
To each their own. Yeah, maybe you need to go stall.
Stall only.
I would say for me, culturally speaking, in Brazil, nobody really has a problem with this. I know this because I could be in a row of like 10 urinals, and I'll pick one, and then a dude will just pick one right next to me with all the other options. So
No.
Brazilians just want to be together. So I would say if it were me, if he's gonna pick the middle one, then I'm gonna go right next to him and just look at him and be like, "Sup? How's it hanging, man?"
Just gonna put off the wrong vibe in there. There should be no speaking
I'm
rule
leaving.
with the urinal
Hey,
also.
if he,
I'm leaving that
yeah,
alone.
I'm pretty sure there is. But if that dude's going to put you in that situation, then you need to take it to the whole other side and just make the line a dot to you, so that he'll never do it again.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll be prepared next time.
For sure.
Hope that was inspirational for somebody out there.
Yeah, for all you people picking the middle, just pick a side next time. No middles.
Yeah. Or
The
or
more
be
you
prepared,
know.
for the aftermath.
But that's all. Just general thought.
All right, guys. All right. Well, that's all for this morning then. If you listeners would like to communicate back with us, have some fun and serious conversations, there are a number of ways to go beyond listening. You can, of course, continue subscribing and keep downloading our weekly podcast every Thursday morning except this week on Friday on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, and
Spotify.
there you go. You could also rate us on iTunes because nothing gives that much needed boost in ranking, I guess. I don't know. Or nothing connects us with the people more than a nice review and some stars. Also, you're welcome to connect with us as a podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at The Good Morning Guys, at The GMG Podcast, and also personally at
Nova Beyond on Twitter.
At Ronnie Johannes on Twitter.
At Musique829 on Twitter.
And I'm Lucas Hamswisher on Facebook, at MTTG Brazil Team on Twitter, and Pastor Ham on Twitch. All right, my podcast and brethren, our listeners, friends, and family, go get your good morning this week, or this weekend, I guess. And may God bless you, guide you, as you live your lives, work, and game. Ate mais. And see you next week, as we'll be coming at you from different locations next week, I'm afraid to say. But we'll be coming at you regardless, from Brazil and the US of A.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now I don't wanna grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. From bikes to trains to
Video games, it's the biggest toy store there is.
Gee whiz! I don't wanna grow up. 'Cause maybe if I did,
Cause I
Toys R Us would be
Yeah, Toys R Us
Oh, such an emotional moment. My eyes are leaking. Again.
And I'm